basketball highlight leading into a basketball conversation. And a congratulations going out to Mike Neighbors for the contract extension, taking him through 2025, 2026. Contract could go to 2028 after the first couple of NCAA tournament appearances, which I would expect to occur. I know Nabes will be on Ruskin and Zach later on this afternoon, so that's always going to be entertaining to get Nabes on any of these radio shows. Kevin McPherson is with us right now. He is, of course, basketball reporter, basketball recruiting at Pig Trail Nation, and just had some news break involving the Arkansas basketball schedule. Just before we got you on, Kevin, we didn't know who Arkansas would play in the Hall of Fame Classic, but now at least we know one of those games, the first, and it's Kansas State.
Kansas State, and we know that Arkansas has an opponent out of the Big 12 in the challenge, right? The SEC Big 12 challenge in January, and that was West Virginia. So Kansas State makes it 2. That game will be played on November 22nd in Kansas City in the first round games. It's Illinois and Cincinnati in the other matchup. The winners will play each other the next day for the championship. Consolation game will obviously be the 2 losers from those first round games, but you know, Arkansas would love to obviously win the first game and have a matchup with Illinois. You know, 2 of the top teams in the country last year, Illinois and Arkansas, and the Razorbacks have loaded up. We can use that word, right? Because even when you turn your roster over now under Eric Musselman, you think there's question marks, but those questions got answered last year when you had effectively one guy returning and you make an Elite 8 run, you finish ranked in the top 10 nationally. So there's some proof of concept that turning the roster over and bringing in 7 newcomers may not be such a bad thing in this era of basketball. So Arkansas is going to go into that game probably ranked preseason anyway, top 10, top 15, and by the time they get to late November, they should still be ranked. I'm guessing they're going to win some early games, but and then Illinois is expected to be good. So we'll see. Arkansas is going to get through the first round game. But again, the non-conference schedule now, we know 5 or 6 opponents, and it's starting to kind of come together.
Well, and we've seen now a couple of years the way that Eric Musselman intends on building this basketball program, and it's just been obvious from the start. Kevin, I know we've talked about this before, but it's always great to revisit that when you see proof of the way that this program is being built. Transfer portal, yes. JUCO transfers sometimes, and incoming freshmen, top-notch incoming freshmen too. Like, you're not just bringing in players from every different angle. You're bringing in incredibly good players from every different angle, and you got another one yesterday, supposedly, theoretically, in Darian Ford. Tell us about him.
Yeah, he committed to Arkansas out of Magnolia, 2-time 4A state title winner with the Magnolia Panthers, was Arkansas Gatorade High School Player of the Year last year as a junior. And that's some nice hardware when you consider guys like Nick Smith Jr. and Khalil Ware, both are 5-star players, top 20 players, and he gets the nod in that winning that recognition. And look, Darian Ford's no slouch. He's ranked top 50 in the nation. He's been a guy that's been up in the top 50 for a couple of years now. And speaking of a couple of years, he took an unofficial visit 2 years ago to Arkansas, and because of COVID and the pandemic and everything being a dead period in recruiting, last year there were no visits for anybody. So he takes his official visit the first chance he could, June 1st through the 3rd, and here we are now in July. The young man stated, look, I'm going to take some other visits. I may take all 5 visits. That never happened. He only visited Arkansas officially, and, as time went by after that official visit, after stating he was going to take other ones, but nothing ever came out about getting those scheduled. And we knew July would be busy. Most coaches are out doing live evaluations, so July wasn't a good month to set up visits. I had the feeling this was about to happen. It certainly did. That other shoe fell last night. He's the 3rd commitment now in this class of 2022 for Eric Musselman. Joseph Pinion was the 1st out of Morrilton, a 4-star, according to Rivals.com. He committed back in October. And then Barry Dunning Jr., the 6'6" small forward out of Alabama, who also took an official visit in that first week of June. He came off the board on July 5th with a commitment. He's another, ESPN's got him ranked 71st nationally, another 4-star. So you've got 3 high-level guys already committed for 2022. And when we look at the blueprint, Musselman comes in, he quickly adds 5 transfers in that first partial recruiting class. The following year, it's a mix of transfers and a top 5-rated high school class when he brought in 4 players, Moses Moody, Devo Davis, Jalen Williams, and KK Robinson. Then we see the next recruiting class is loaded up again with transfers, with Chance Moore being, by the way, another top 75 guy, according to ESPN, the lone high school guy. Now we're seeing a shift in 2022 where we're getting a heavy dose of high school commitments again. So Eric Musselman, don't paint him in a box. Let's not say that he's just a transfer portal guy. I think that's what he's known for nationally, but let's keep an eye on this high school recruiting because it's been pretty darn good up to this point.
It definitely has been pretty darn good, Kevin. And watching some highlight video of Ford out of Magnolia, Arkansas, it seems that he can both play on and with or without the ball, drive and shoot. What do you think is more of his specialty? Is he more of a drive to the hole guy, or is he going to be able to, or is he more of a stand outside the 3-point line and hack him up?
Well, you hear about basketball players living in the gym. He splits his time gym and weight room, and this is a strong young man, upper body, lower body. So he's able to play bully ball. He's a slasher. He's got a nice array of back down moves. He can take guys his size or smaller, or maybe in the mid post. He's got a variety of ways to get it done. He's improved on his shot. He's a lefty. His 3-point shot's gotten better. I notice his release point is better. The arc he puts on the ball is better. He's an improved shooter, both in mid-range and to the 3-point line. He's got because he's so strong and he's got quickness, he's got the ability to project as a plus defender down the line as he gets, moves up to the next level, and Arkansas gets a hold of him because we know how much of a premium defense is under Eric Musselman. We've seen, I would kind of lump him in, maybe he's in some ways comparing him a little bit to Devo Davis and what he can potentially be. They're not the same player, but that might be a decent comparison.
Two more guys I want to ask you about, and you mentioned one thing on Ford that just stood out when I saw photos of him and see what he's listed on height and weight. Barry Dunning, does he have the same kind of body? The Gatorade Player of the Year out of Alabama that also committed for 2022. He's 6'5", 205. Is he also kind of on the court or in the weight room kind of a guy?
Yeah, he's got a physical presence about him. He's not a rail thin guy, and he goes by 6'6". Some listings have him 6'5". He prefers 6'6". I guess when I see him in person, I'll be able to make my own assessment on that. But a guy that definitely, he's kind of a jack of all trades, and he reminds me of a potential down the road glue guy because he can rebound, he finds ways to score, he can defend, and he doesn't have to. Everything doesn't have to be about him first. He's a team type of guy. And most players figure out their roles, whether they're counted on to be more of a producer one way or another. But he's a guy that I think Arkansas's coaching staff, when he was on his visit, the word I was getting back through back channels was they thought he was a perfect fit for the culture. Sometimes that's as important as what they bring physically and skill-wise to the court, because those things they can work with and figure out a role. But if he's a perfect fit for the culture, I see why that he wanted to commit, and they took his commitment a few weeks ago.
That's always very important, not only having the best guys, but the best guys for you and for your system, and ultimately want to play for your university and want to buy in. And who else out there for the class of 2022 is Eric Musselman really looking at and wanting to get, and somebody that you think Arkansas fans could be watching in 2022, 2023?
Well, you had a couple of 5-star visitors late in June. Kajani Wright, a 6'9" forward out of the Windward School in Los Angeles. And I got to see him play up close and personal. I interviewed him last week when I was in attending the first July Live Period event in Hoover, Alabama, the Adidas event. He plays for 17 under Compton Magic. But this guy's a nationally ranked top 10 guy, 5-star. And he just looks like, a Greek god in his build. I mean, the guy's just a physical specimen. Then he plays the right way. He's good around the basket. He attacks the glass, tip-ins, putbacks. He can get out of his area to block a shot or get a rebound, and he's always playing hard. I mean, sometimes when he's off the ball offensively, guys tend to stand and ball watch. He sets a screen, he moves to the open space, defenders have to converge, it opens someone else up. So sometimes he impacts games without actually having to have the ball in his hands and put it in the basket. This is a high-level guy. Arkansas feels good about him. He's already visited Southern Cal, the hometown school, Texas. He told me he's probably going to take a visit to Stanford upcoming, Kansas maybe, but Arkansas is among the finalists there with a decision coming before his high school senior season, he told me, his senior season. And then the other 5-star is Jordan Walsh, a 6'7" combo forward out of the Dallas area, who will play his senior season at Southern California Academy. There's California again. But he's another player Arkansas has been keeping a close eye on. He loved his visit in late June. He came a few days after Johnny Wright visited. And he's a guy I think Arkansas is in great shape with. ESPN ranks him number 12 in the country, so basically top 10, another 5-star. But those are two guys. And then the other in-state names we've talked about, Khalil Ware, the 7-footer out of North Little Rock, Nick Smith Jr., the 6'5" combo guard who played last season at Sylvan Hills. Those guys are also 5-stars. Smith is ranked 17th in the country overall. Ware is number 20. Ware is 17th and Smith is 20th. But either way, Ware's already taken his visit in early June, the same time Darren Ford did. Nick Smith has an official visit to Arkansas set for September 10th through 12th. That's the weekend of the Texas football game. But those are two more guys that Arkansas is really making a priority. So I just named 4 5-stars, 2 that are playing in California, 2 from Arkansas. Arkansas would love to get at least 2 of those, and I think they're in good shape to potentially get 1, maybe 2.
Before we let you go, Kevin, I have to ask about Kevin O'Banner. I was transferring out of ORU. He did the quick whittle from 20 down to 2, and it's Arkansas, Texas Tech. The funny graphic that they released for him a couple days ago misspelled his last name.
Yeah.
So what you feeling on O'Banner?
I think he's Texas Tech bound. I think Arkansas has put itself in a position to maybe steal that and change that narrative. But until I hear differently, I think it's going to be Texas Tech. But, we'll see. Eric Musselman has a way, where situations may not seem clear in Arkansas's favor to making it work out that way. So I'm not resigning the fact that he will be a Red Raider, but I think that's where it's headed as I talk about it right now.
Great stuff as always, Kevin. Appreciate you, man. We'll let you go. He's at AR Hoop Scoop on Twitter. Pig Trail Nation for the coverage. Kevin McPherson. Always fun. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Good to be with you.
Thanks, Kevin.
That's Kevin McPherson. We always like getting him on. Get a lot of stuff basketball going on, even in the off season. Still a lot of time to get out for lunch. Get over to B-Dubs, Buffalo Wild Wings, the new classic chicken sandwich. It's hand-breaded chicken with pickles, mayo, and a side of fries. Just $5.99, a limited time offer. And some things do happen after dark that are good. You'll get half off late night food from 9 p.m. to close. That's half off ultimate nachos, chips and salsa, crispy buffalo chicken tots. And that's at all the Buffalo Wild Wing locations in Fort Smith, Conway, Little Rock, Sherwood, and Jonesboro. Wrapping things up on halftime homework. Stay tuned.